You think you know McDonald's, right? Of course you do. But I'm willing to bet there's a story hiding behind those golden arches you've never heard. A story of relentless innovation that has way less to do with burgers and, well, everything to do with changing the world.
Seriously, just for a second, what pops into your head? Is it the Big Mac? The smell of those fries? Maybe it's that jingle you just can't shake? For pretty much all of us, the answer is somewhere in that ballpark.
But what if I told you that thinking of McDonald's as just a fast food joint is like thinking of Amazon as just a bookstore? It's not the whole picture. The reality? They're a company built on solving problems, a process innovator, a marketing genius, and yeah, now a cutting-edge tech company. So how on earth did they do it? We're going to break it all down into 5 key stages. We'll start with their game-changing assembly line, then look at their franchising model, their incredible knack for solving our everyday problems, how they adapted to go global, and finally, where they're headed in the world of tech.
All right, first up, the original assembly line. To really get this, we have to jump in the time machine and go all the way back to the 1940s. This is where the company's entire DNA was forged.
Before McDonald's, the American drive-in was, well, it was chaos. Total chaos. You'd wait forever for your food, the quality was all over the place, kitchens were a mess, and costs were sky high. It was anything but fast food.
So the McDonald brothers, Richard and Maurice, they looked at this mess and saw a massive opportunity for order. They basically applied factory principles to making food. First thing they did, they slashed their menu from 25 items down to just the 9 biggest sellers. Simple. Second, they literally drew out a new kitchen layout on a tennis court, choreographing every single move for maximum speed. And finally, they got rid of the car hops and put in self-service windows. I mean, it was completely revolutionary at the time.
And the results of their speediest system? It was staggering. Order times went from around 20 long minutes to just 30 seconds. They didn't just build a faster restaurant, they basically invented a whole new way of eating. So you've done it. You've perfected the system in one place. But that's just the beginning, right? The next huge challenge is, how do you copy that perfection thousands of times over, flawlessly? This was the exact puzzle that a milkshake machine salesman named Ray Kroc just couldn't shake. He saw what the brothers were doing and knew, he just knew, this could be everywhere. But franchising back then was a disaster. So inconsistent. How could he possibly make sure a burger in Illinois tasted exactly like one in California? Kroc's genius was in his business model. He called it the 3-legged stool. And the idea was simple. If any one leg was weak, the whole stool would collapse. You needed the local franchisee to succeed, you needed the suppliers to deliver consistent quality, and you needed the main company to protect the brand. They all depended on each other. He wasn't just selling a brand, he was building real partnerships. This quote from Kroc just sums it all up perfectly. He gave entrepreneurs the keys to run their own shop, but he also gave them a bulletproof system and a massive support network. It was a model built from the ground up on consistency and shared success. Now here's where the story gets really cool. Once that system was scaled, the next wave of innovation didn't come from some corporate boardroom. Nope, it came from franchisees on the ground, solving problems they saw every single day. Okay, picture this. It's 1975. You're in Sierra Vista, Arizona, right near a military base. A bunch of soldiers are craving a burger, but here's the catch. Military rules say they can't get out of their cars while they're in uniform, so they can't come inside. What do you do? Well, a local manager saw this happening and had a brilliantly simple idea. He just cut a hole in the side of the building. And that impromptu window, the very first drive-through, wasn't some corporate plan. It was just a local guy solving a local problem. And get this, it doubled that restaurant's sales. Of course, it was so successful, it became the standard everywhere. Okay, next problem. For years, McDonald's was basically a ghost town in the morning. People just didn't think fast food for breakfast. So the challenge was massive. How do you convince an entire country to change its morning routine? Well, the answer came from another franchisee, Herb Peterson. He loved Eggs Benedict, but he knew it was way too complicated for a fast food kitchen. So he went and invented a handheld version, the Egg McMuffin. The company was pretty skeptical at first, but people loved it. And that one idea single-handedly created the entire fast food breakfast market. By the 80s, breakfast was almost a fifth of all their sales. One more for you. Every single parent knows this feeling. You're trying to eat, and the kids start getting restless. The meal gets stressful, you leave early, and you're not exactly rushing to come back.
McDonald's saw this not just as a family problem, but as a huge business problem. And their solution back in 1979 was pure genius. The Happy Meal. See, it was never just about the food. It was about turning a boring meal into an experience. That special box, that little toy, it gave kids something to look forward to. It turned Pesterkauer into one of their biggest sales drivers. It was so insanely effective that it made McDonald's one of the largest distributors of toys on the entire planet. And you know, this same problem-solving mindset, this habit of listening to local needs, that became the absolute key to their global expansion. They didn't just try to copy and paste the American model everywhere. They were much, much smarter than that. Their real success came from listening. Remember that franchisee who noticed sales tanked on Fridays in Catholic neighborhoods? He invented the filet-o-fish. In France, they didn't fight it. They put burgers on baguettes. In China, they leaned right into the local love for spicy food. The lesson was clear. Don't fight the local culture, join it.
And this adaptation went so far beyond just the menu. In Europe, they made a really big deal about sourcing their potatoes from respected local farms to signal quality and build trust. And when they first went into China back in the 90s, they focused on providing spotlessly clean restrooms, which was a huge deal at the time. That one simple act helped build a reputation for cleanliness and safety before a lot of people had even tried a Big Mac.
So let's bring it to the modern day and see how this pattern is still going on, now in the digital age. This isn't just a history lesson. This same mindset is absolutely driving their future.
McDonald's has actually been a quiet tech company for decades. They brought in electronic registers way back in the 70s and were testing self-service kiosks in '83. But in just the last few years, they've hit the accelerator hard. They started buying companies for voice AI to automate the drive-thrus and for personalization tech that can change menu boards based on stuff like the weather. But here's the really clever part. After developing this tech, they partnered up with giants like IBM and MasterCard. That let them get back to their core business while the tech experts handle scaling these innovations all over the world. So when you put it all together, from that first assembly line kitchen all the way to an AI-powered drive-thru, you finally see the real story. McDonald's isn't really in the food business. They're in the systems business. It's a global machine designed to find and solve problems at a massive, massive scale. Which really just leaves us with one question. What problem do you think they're going to solve next?